Hello, everybody. It's Rhonda here from Nelson Soapery. Today, we are going to be making some gorgeous beard butters, and I'll actually show you two different ways on how to actually make them and the differences, because a lot of people think you just add the shea butter, you whip it, and that's it. But that's not true. There's a couple different ways. It depends whether you're making this beard butter to style the beard or whether you want it more to condition the beard. There's a couple different ways, or you can combine a mix of the both, depending on what you sort of like. So today, I actually need to make some more because I actually stock these and sell my beard butters in a barber's store in Melbourne, Australia. And I actually need to, they've asked me to make a couple new scents. So I had four different ones that all sold out, bar two. I think they have two left. And a little tip for any of you that are making them for stores. Generally, with beard butter, things that are in a scent of food generally don't sell as well. So the ones that they've got left, which there's only two though, and they were a chocolate fudge. So generally, if you sort of stay away from a food scent, then it definitely gets taken a better way. Unless it's like a tropical fruity sort of coconut one, that's fine. But, you know, don't sort of make them smell like cakes and danishes and things like that, because, you know, no one wants to go around smelling of that. But anyway, inside my pot here, you'll be able to see I'm just weighing everything up. So I have some gorgeous shea butter, some cocoa butter. I always use unrefined. So that's what's in here at the moment. I'm going to add a tiny bit of coconut oil into this, as well of I'll sort of add some jojoba oils, sweet almond, and so on, but I'll tell you what I'm adding as we go along. So today what we need to actually make is, and I'll give you a bit of a view while I'm talking at the moment, because look how gorgeous that is. So we're going to be making one that I call blueberry grunge, which is like a real kind of salty blueberry. It's not sweet at all, and it definitely has like a woody kind of scent. I do mix all of my scents, so any scent I buy is not the one I put in. I usually mix several to make my products a little bit more unique. Then I'm going to be doing tobacco and vanilla, and with that I will definitely have a splash of lime in that as well. Then I have one that's called Ocean Shave, and that's like a salty ocean one with a bit of a man's kind of deodorant almost smell in that. And then I do have a coconut beach one, which is a hugely popular one for me, which has coconut, tropical mango, and so on. And in the barber, they actually put that on the young boys' hair. So the young kiddies' hair, they like to put that one. And this is all natural, so that's why a lot of people like it. And then lastly, I'll be doing one called Egyptian King. And Egyptian King is like ambery. It's really warm. It's quite different as well. A few woody and sort of green notes in it. So that's what we're going to be doing for that one. So today, let's get going, and I'm going to show you what I'm doing. So of course in here you can see that I've got all the butters. So let's go and just pop it in here. So if you don't know, this is actually called a water bath. And it's called a water bath because basically there's water in the bottom, and then you're just going to be able to put your Pyrex or whatever you're using in the center of that, and then you can put the handle over the side. Please remember that this does get hot, so you just can't pick it up with your hands. And two, when you're picking this up, you want to take your gloves off so that the glove does not burn your finger as well. But obviously you're going to wear gloves when you're doing the all of this. So I've taken mine off, but I will pop them on in a minute. And like I said, I haven't added the coconut oil, so let me grab that and all of the other oils, and then I'll be back. So in here, look how gorgeous this is all looking, everybody. Just spin that around for you. So all we're going to have to do now is just, you set this on medium, and this is just a little electric one. So if you're at home and, you know, your husband, your mum, someone doesn't want you using the stove for sort of soaping products, you can buy one of these little electric ones. They're like $30 or $40. They're not very expensive at all, and they're really easy. And then you just need a basic pan to sit the Pyrex in. Make sure this is a heat proof, and make sure you've sanitized it before you've even started. So all of these have been sanitized prior to me using them as well. Now I am going to add some vitamin E, and I also some fragrance oils. You can use essential if you like, but I'm not going to do that until this is melted down. And then of course we need it to kind of cool, to get a bit thicker, so that we can whip it with the electric mixer as well. But for now, we're just going to leave this, and we're going to just see how this will go. So I will just let this melt down, and I'll bring you back. Now let's get on to the sanitizing part. So while everything else is melting down, it's really important to sanitize all your jars. So I actually use a medium size amber jar. I actually do get these from Aussie Candle Supplies, so you can jump over there if you like, but there's plenty on Amazon. And if you're in another country, I'm sure that all your countries will have these kind of jars. They're pretty standard. So what I'm using here is isopropyl. This is what I actually use for my solution, but you can use a bleach solution as well. I personally don't use the bleach solution. I've just always worked with this, and it's worked really well. I've never had any growths. I've never had any problems with the isopropyl. But once again, you just need to make sure that your area is really sanitized and clean. And you'll see that I usually put down paper towel on the bottom, then I actually wipe them out. So you can wipe them out with paper towel, or you can wipe them out with a microfiber cloth. I know that the microfiber cloth is probably better. The only thing I don't like about that is, once again, it's a cloth, and germs or things can be brought to a cloth. So that's why I prefer to use something like the paper towel, and then I can just throw it out after I've done this. So that's, like I said, that's what works for me. So that's what I'm sort of using. So once I do all that, I also make sure I wipe down the outside, and then, like I said, with the end, I just thought we'll just re-wipe over the scale again. So just make sure everything's like really clean, and do remember all the little white lids that are going on top of the creams, they need to also be done. And you also do need to use isopropyl on the very tops. Even if the product's not going to touch it, you just want to make sure it's super sanitized, and it has left your environment in a sanitized way. And that way, you've done everything possible to make sure this product's beautiful. Leave it to air a little bit, because you don't want to put the product straight in this. We do want to let this air out just a tiny bit. So like I said, that's what I do with all of mine. And if you don't use all of them, well, it doesn't matter. You've sanitized it. But next time you would need to sanitize again. That is super important, because dust and particles and all of those things will definitely get onto them. So like I said, this is the main bit that we're going to be doing. And, you've got time to do this, because in the other pot, all the butters and everything will be melted down. So we just need time to do that anyway. And do remember, we're going to need time to let those butters cool down as well, because you can't do much when they're super liquidy. We do need them to cool down, and then we can whip them and make everything gorgeous. So like I said, here's my jars all ready. Of course, after this, we definitely will need to put the label on, but for now they're looking all gorgeous. So let's get on to the next bit. All right, everyone, it has melted. I put a tiny little bit of mica in, usually about 1/8 of a teaspoon, and we're also going to be popping in about half a tablespoon of some kaolin clay. So let's just pop that in there, and then you can see that I've got my little stick here. So let's just stir this up, and we'll see how gorgeous this is going to become. And then we're just going to leave it. We won't touch it or do much more. You can use like a little whisk, so I might actually just grab a whisk. Once again, remember, anything you're touching you need to sanitize. So this one, I've just sanitized it. because we want to make sure that all of this kaolin clay is mixed really well, and it will just make it nice and silky, and it does absorb some of the fats. So that's what kaolin clay is good for. And when we get to the next stage, we will be using some tapioca starch, and that actually helps to combat any oilness, because we don't want it to be oily. Even though we want it to be gorgeous and conditioning, that doesn't mean oily. So it's beautiful and ready to go. So now what I'm going to do is just check the temperature, because we need to add in the vitamin E in a minute. So let me double check. So you really want this to be like under 60 degrees. At the moment, it's too hot to put the vitamin E. And if I put it in, it's just going to ruin all the benefits. So we want this really to be about 50 degrees Celsius. And then I can pop it in, or under that. But you don't want to pop it in after it's cooled down, because then it's not going to absorb into the oils. So we definitely need to do it while it's still liquefied. So we're just going to come back and check this in a minute. So I'll leave this just for the moment. All right, everyone, the temperature is the right temperature. So inside my little container here, I have already pre-measured up the fragrance oil and a couple drops of essential oil. So that's going to go into my Egyptian king. And then the other one that's a greeny kind of color. This is a fun one for the kids, which is coconut. You can add a tiny bit of mica. I've literally only added what would go on the end of like a popsicle stick. So it's definitely not going to be a lot. Don't add a lot, but this adds a little bit of fun, doesn't it? It's not going to make the hair go green. It's not going to do anything like that, because it's a very small amount. And once this has dried out a bit, you'll see it's really light. This one I've added a little bit of yellow, because this one is a yellowy type one. So literally we're just going to pour it inside. The green one is not ready yet, so I'm just going to leave that. And this is what I say, everybody. I always tell you, make sure that when you're doing something, make it a little bit different. I mean, look, I could make them all white and boring, but where I've got them, the kids love them. They always say, the kids say, oh, that's so much fun. And the minute the kids see the colors pink or green or blue, they love it. And then when it goes in their hair, they say, oh, my hair's not even colorful. So that's the thing that I always say. And I get some men that, some are tradies, I've got a few woodcutters and things like that, men, and they look kind of rough with the big beard, but they actually love the colors. They think it's a little bit fun as well. So, and I get lots of people say, oh, they wouldn't buy it anywhere else, they just love it. So if you do something fun, if you make it gorgeous, and you pay attention to your process and try and keep the ingredients and everything else fairly similar, they'll come back and back and back. And that's what actually happened. The shop had sold out of a particular thing they wanted, and then people would come, and then they would actually find me on Google or whatever and look me up and say, hey, I bought it from this shop. I know that you're the seller or the manufacturer. Can you actually make me some more? So, once you get to that stage, and it took me a very long time for people to know me like that, then it's really good, because people can come to you, you can make it and send it out to them, or sell it back through the store. These ones I sell on consignment through the store. So it basically means I make it, I give it to them, I have everything recorded down, we have an agreement. So at the end of each month, if something sells, they pay me for the product. That's basically how it works. So they're not buying it off me. It's not for everyone, but some stores can't afford to just buy heaps, and this store said, we'll give you a go, we'll pop it in your store, and it's been really good. So, I think last month, I think I sold $250 of body butter. Not body butter, beard butter, and that was actually in the store. So that's what I'm saying. Just make sure that you're trying to do your best to, accommodate them as well, because businesses are doing it tough, but it can help you and it can also help them. So like I said, just make sure that you're kind of thinking of all of that as well. And this is a win-win for a barber, because this is more, I don't like the word natural, but it's more natural than all the other products with all the other bits and pieces in. This is pretty much gorgeous shea butter, cocoa butter from Deluxe. Shea butter is where I get mine. And it's just a really beautiful product. And people know that once they start using it, they say, oh, I could never go back to a store-bought one. So that's the difference, everybody. You know, once people try it, I promise you they will love it. But, you know, you just got to get across the line, don't you, people to find you first. So anyway, we've done all this. I'm just going to leave this. I'm going to cover it up. I don't pop mine in the fridge. I don't do any of that. I let them just naturally do their thing. So I'm just going to put a little bit of paper on the top because you need something so nothing falls into it or anything. Or you can have a bit of cardboard, some wrap, some baking paper, anything over the top of it, just so that, you know, it's just going to cool down naturally on its own. And then once it's ready and it's cooled down, we'll come back and whip it, as simple as that. So I'll leave this one for now. And also in here, I don't know whether I said, but it did have my vitamin E as well because I'd already poured the vitamin E. And, you know, usually I use about 2 grams for this mixture of vitamin E. But as I did say earlier, the recipe will be on Patreon for this one. But you can go back on lots of my other recipes. Lots of my other early videos do have recipes on them. So, like I said, basically, this is a body butter. Very similar to a body butter. But if you want it for styling for men, just add the wax. If you just want it as a conditioning one, then just take out the wax. But if you add a little bit of wax, it's like I said, it's more of a hybrid and it can be for both. So that kind of is a really good thing. And I really do the hybrid mix with mine. I don't do either just one or the other. So anyway, like I said, hopefully that helps. Once I've made these, I am going to put some gorgeous labels on, which I'll show everyone at a later date because I have to organize some more paper. I've actually run out of my special crystal clear paper that I print on. But anyway, like I said, these ones are looking gorgeous and I will bring you back when we're ready to whip it all up. As I said, everyone, before, we're going to just cover it up. So I've just popped on a little bit of baking paper on the top. I'm just going to leave that sit there and I'll come back in about an hour's time and check it out. All right, everyone, you can see it is nice and hard, and so you can see how it easily just went through, and in the center it is a little liquidy, so it's more the outside, which is fine. So let's get beating this gorgeous thing. So just do it on low at the start, and you can see how the liquid sort of come to the top, and that's fine because we want that so that it all mixes beautiful. So let's go. Can you see how it's turned that really beautiful kind of creamy kind of colour? That's what we want. We want it to turn to that. So we will keep going, and you need to beat this for about 20 minutes. If it is stuck to the side, just get the beater and kind of pull it around. This one is a little bit stuck, but, you know, just keep beating and it will slowly move from the side. All right, so I have changed containers. So I thought the other one, it was making a big mess, but you can feel how hard it is. But this is because I popped this in the freezer. If you just let this dry around the house, you won't have that sort of issue that I've had. And then I've also put in a little bit of tapioca starch. You just need a tablespoon of that. So let's keep whipping. Now, one thing I'll wanted to say is you can see this is beautiful. If you feel like it's too thick, you can always add a little bit more oil, but try not to do it until there is absolutely no lumps and bumps in here. You want to make sure that absolutely everything is together, because I can see lots of lumps at the bottom and they will definitely get softer. And also remember, we've just taken this out of the freezer, so it is not going to be hard like this. It will definitely soften up. So I'm going to keep going because I need to do about 20 minutes of this, and then I'll go to the next step. And I did this just to show you the whip, but usually I would put this in a stand mixer and just leave it to keep going. All right, everyone, look how beautiful that looks. And let me get my little fork and I will just show you. Can you see like how beautiful that looks? It's just really, really light and fluffy. And then what I do is just get, you know, like get your fork and just go through it. If you see any lumps and bumps, it means that you need to keep going again. And it does take quite a long time to whip this to be good. If you don't whip it properly, you'll have lumps in it. And then you'll kind of really regret it because it just won't be as beautiful. But I mean, look how gorgeous that is. I don't think I can feel any lumps in it, but of course I will double check. And then we're just going to get the piping bag. So I will organize that, and let me just clean up this for a little minute. We'll take this off. And now inside here I do have my piping bag, which is just sitting in here. And the reason you put in a piping bag, it's just easier. I mean, it's not about being pretty because you're not going to see inside these jars, but we actually do really want this to look, you know, amazing. And also in between, I always put this on a scale and just double check it. So I pop that on and tear it out. So I've torn out my scale, which these are 119 grams, it says. And so now we're just going to pop it into the bag. So as I said, I mean, it just looks so nice. It looks like buttercream, actually. That's what this reminds me of, buttercream. So we, like I said, are just going to squish it in there. I can see a couple tiny little lumps in that, so we might just refix some of this bottom bit. But we are going to get piping with this bit. You could also put this in a bit of plastic so you don't have to pop it in the bag straight away and ruin the whole bag. But we can just open up the bag. So now we just want to make sure it's going to the bottom of the bag and not the top. So we'll just push it down. And if you can see, I haven't cut it. So now I'm just going to cut the tip off. And I haven't got anything in it, as you can see, because I don't want anything in there. Because like I said, we literally want to just pop it straight through here. So I'm just going to do this just so you can see. And, you know, like I said, it's going to come to the end of the bag. Doesn't need to look pretty because we just literally want to pop it in there. And I mean, look how gorgeous that is. So, and I always tap that down as well. Because, you know, that's with it tapped down. So now we'll just see how much it weighs. And that's 70 grams, which that's usually what I sell them for, around the 70 grams. So, you know, look, you can try and squish, you know, a tiny bit more, but I wouldn't put heaps in. So I think we might get 80 grams in each. That's it, because there's like 70 grams, so that will be 80. And that's it. And then what we're going to do is we have already done these ones, haven't we? So we're just going to pop that straight on because I've already sanitized those. And then I'll pop the lid on and then that one is done. So that's as easy as it is, everyone. So I'll get going with the rest of these. I mean, I guess you could watch me. I don't know how exciting it is watching me just pipe these, but you may enjoy it. I used to actually like watching other soapers just do things like this. But as you can see, I mean, look, they're just so creamy and gorgeous. It'd even be good on your skin, to be honest.